Packard Enterprises and Intel present Byte Talks, powered by CNBC TV 18.
Delivering services to citizens is at the heart of what most government agencies do. Citizens today expect more transparent, accessible, and responsive services from the public sector. And to deliver on those rising expectations, the Centre is working on several projects which use next-generation technology to improve the delivery of citizen services in India. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is utilizing advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning to improve the speed of citizen services in India. So in today's show, to discuss the current status of citizen services in India, how key stakeholders are adopting a more holistic approach towards digital transformation, and the role of technology by continually increasing the value to citizens. Please welcome Dr. Saurabh Garg, the Chief Executive Officer, UIDAI, Mr. Som Satsangi, the Senior Vice President and Managing Director at HPE India, Ms. Roshni Das, Senior Regional Marketing Director and General Manager, APJ Marketing, Intel Solutions and Services. On HPE and Intel present Byte Talks, powered by CNBC TV 18, and I am Reema Tendulkar. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today on this special day. Dr. Saurabh, my first question is, technology is clearly a big thrust for the government. Programs like Aadhaar, UPI have laid the foundation. Every project of the government now has an interplay of technology. Today's topic is about governance and citizen services. Can you tell us what is the government's larger vision and what are the challenges that you face in achieving that?
The broad vision of the government as far as the digital sector is concerned is on how it can help in the ease of living of the residents. And the objective is to ensure that every government service should be delivered digitally if it can be, unless and until there is some legal impediment for it to be delivered online or through the digital mechanism, or there are certain services by its very nature they cannot be delivered on a digital mechanism, but as far as possible, whatever is feasible should be delivered on a digital mechanism. And along with that, to ensure that the digital access is everywhere, the government also has a very clear program on increasing digital access and the internet connectivity. For example, you have the BharatNet and the PM Vani programs, which ensure that digital access would be available even in the most remote of places. And where there is a connectivity problem, is there a mechanism by which that same service can be given in a non-uptime manner, in a non-internet connectivity? And let me just give you one example of Aadhaar, that Aadhaar you can access digitally through the portal, through the mobile app, etc. But supposing you are in an area where you are unable to verify the authenticity of a person, we have the QR code, the encrypted QR code, which any phone you can use to read it. So that's just an example I am giving of what the vision of the government is.
Well, hopefully, on the heels of COVID-19 pandemic behind us, I'm sure that would have thrown a lot of challenges at the government. Can you just briefly talk about the proactive steps taken by the government and the solutions and the use of deep technology at a time like this to solve the problems?
Yeah. I think one of the main issues that came up during COVID was the inability for having in-person delivery of services, whether on the supply side or the demand side, that the customer or the resident couldn't come. And I think that's where a number of steps that had been taken over the past decade or so, I would say, to increase the digitization of services really helped it. And if you just look at, for example, let me just take one example, is the payment system, where you have these 55 lakh micro ATMs that are available. But more importantly, you have the plumbing in place in terms of one, the Aadhaar payment bridge, the APB, which ensured that funds could be given by the government directly into the bank accounts. And that's how you had PM Kisan transfers taking place. You had transfers taking place through the labor to the laborers who were requiring funds. one could implement the one nation, one ration card, so that even if you are staying in Mumbai working, but your village is in UP, you can withdraw the rations from any PDS shop in Mumbai or any other city for that matter. And along with the Aadhaar payment bridge, which was a government to consumer bridge, the bank to consumer leg was enabled through the Aadhaar enabled payment systems, the AEPS, where for this 55 lakh micro ATMs, you could just go to the village shop and get cash from your bank account by the use of the fingerprint authentication that Aadhaar enables. And during COVID, we saw a nearly doubling of the number of transactions that took place on the AEPS, a 100% rise, because a lot more people were using it. We have nearly 300 schemes of the government which are on the DBT platform. You have the transfer of LPG subsidy, for example, etc. So all these could be built along with this. And I think that work is continuing to build other such platforms so that as far as possible, there can be a touchless and a cashless delivery of services.
Tom, if you could briefly take us through what HPE's role is in digitizing citizen services in India and your strategy.
For more than 75 years, Hewlett Packard Enterprise is known for technology innovation. And today, HP is known for its edge-to-cloud platform company. And as Saurabh also indicated, that what is the core purpose, and that core purpose what government is trying to do today, it's also the core purpose of HPE, where we say that we want to advance the way people live and work. And I'm really proud to share with you that for more than 2 decades, we have been working very closely in India, and I can proudly share that we touches the life of almost 1.3 all Indian citizens every day in some way or the other, be it central government department interaction or any state data center or Indian Railway, public sector enterprises like bank, stock exchanges, oil and gas company, any manufacturing organization, because we power the core infrastructure of almost all large government establishment, all large enterprises. And also with our high performance computing platform, we work very closely with many large government offices and also almost all large academia and many mission critical activities such as weather forecasting, disaster management, cyclone alert, and many other R&D projects. And recently, under the various e-governance projects, as Dr. Saurabh was also articulating, and which are also many of those things are related to the smart city project, we have aligned our solution to provide the right platform that can enhance the economic growth and improve the quality of people, which is also, as I mentioned, is our core purpose to advance the way people live and work. In fact, our PointNext advisory and professional services team is providing solution on OpenStack cloud platform, ensuring the scalability, redundancy, lower latency, and more importantly, the security of citizen-centric data, which is very, very important and critical for any countries like India. And in fact, we have introduced many cutting-edge technology like new age architecture, including on-premise cloud platform, which are required for many of the government organization, microservices, and containerized architecture to enable department to offer the many citizen-centric services in an accelerated pace and enhance citizen confidence, which really provide the right set of interface between government and citizen services. We have been working with UIDAI from very beginning, and today we are involved in their largest digital transformation project, which they have undertaken by creating a largest private cloud on-prem platform, which is probably the largest not only in India but in Asia Pacific, to create the long-term vision for the citizen-centric services through UIDAI, and he spoke many of those things. So in fact, our advisory and professional services along with our core infrastructure team is really helping UIDAI to deliver this most ambitious project for Government of India, which touches the life of every citizen.
Roshni, you want to come in and add on the role of technology and the role that technology can play in enabling citizen services, and talk a bit more about the promising technologies which are at the forefront of this revolution.
If you look at it, the role of technology is one, equality leveler. Second, ease of service, as Saurabh talked about. And third, I think innovation at scale. So I think it has to deliver to these three promises, for citizen services, to be effective. If you look at the recent budget that was announced, part of the India 100 focus, and one of the key pillars, or one of the three key pillars, was about technology enabled development, which is great. So I like the fact that we place technology at the heart of citizen services, economic schemes, direct to consumer initiatives. So I think the more we can place technology at the center of the experience, the more proliferation that's going to happen. We have the vantage point of being part of the success of UIDAI. We worked very closely at its inception, where we had a team of engineers and a technology to be part of, the whole initiative. And we can see the fruits and the success of a public-private partnership. And it's just great to see it ramp more and more. The other pieces is now we're looking at, from the government, the UPIization of, healthcare, of education. And if I look at healthcare as an example, another fantastic example that we've done with the government is our CoWIN platform, right? CoWIN is delivered by the government and managed as a very strong infrastructure by Intel Xeon scalable processors. I mean, that is a game changer in terms of how technology has reached the customer. At its peak, the platform was able to take 3.2 billion hits. It took vaccination and democratized the ease of vaccination right to the consumer. That is what technology can do. I think secondly, for technology to reach every corner, I think there are two parts to it, right? I mean, you asked about what are the emerging technologies. I would say definitely AI, like what digitization is today, AIization is going to be of tomorrow. So I think one part of it is really the demand side, how are we training the right people to use AI, right? Like our digital, our government, our policymakers are leaning in to understand what AI means, and so they're proliferating it at every level. That's one. We as Intel have done in association with our policymakers and government an AI for all project or an initiative, which today looks at training 1 million people on AI, whether it is for people who make the policy or for those who use it, right? So both sides of it have to be taken into consideration. Before that, we had done a National Digital Literacy Mission that trained millions on how to use technology. So our endeavor is going to be, getting the right skilling in place so the use of technology is faster by the end users. That's one. We are so happy to see that data center has made it to infrastructure status as part of the budget, which means, we're going to have the right infrastructure. Intel powers most of the infrastructure today by, our Intel Xeons, our FPGAs, our storage. So we've got like a breadth of portfolio that power, all the data crunching that is needed. So I think having the literacy, having the right infrastructure, but training on new technologies, right? Like technologies of tomorrow, which are AI, or rather today, the right cloud deployment, getting IoT to talk to the edge are all going to be things that come together as part of our endeavor to work with government so that citizen services can reach every corner.
Hewlett-Packard Enterprises and Intel present Byte Talks, powered by CNBC TV18. Hewlett-Packard Enterprises and Intel present Byte Talks, powered by CNBC TV18.
Dr. Garg, improving trust between the government and citizens is the fundamental to good governance. Can you talk about how technology is progressively becoming an essential, a necessity to ensure that there is accountability, there is convenience, we can streamline services, make it more transparent?
Absolutely. I think transparency and accountability are the bedrock for credibility of the government and also for improved trust of the citizens in the government. And digitization by its very nature improves that transparency and improves that accountability by ensuring that information is available to all at the click of a button from a portal, or it's available on their phones. And if they want to verify anything, they are able to do that without having to approach any office and do it while sitting at home. Along with this issue of transparency and accountability, also is the issue of ensuring the privacy and the confidentiality of the data. And I think this also is something which is integral to this entire process. And the recently prepared the data protection bill, which is under examination by the parliament, would help institutionalize this mechanism to a much greater level, so that the citizens have the trust and the faith that their data remains where it should be and it is used for the purpose that it has been stated to be. Transparency and accountability gets institutionalized through the RTI Act, which has already been on the statute book since long, and the kind of citizens charter that there are also mention the need for ensuring transparency and accountability, and which automatically improves the level of services and the quality of services that there are.
Som, could you help us understand how HPE is helping India's digital transformation journey to delivering citizen services, and give us some examples?
On the backdrop of the data first strategy for last several years, we have been working relentlessly with the state government, central government department, with all government authorities in India at very strategic level to transform the way e-governance projects are being rolled out and executed. And let me give some examples that how technology is helping and how HP is helping in many of these e-governance projects at the state level or at central level. So we have been working with many of the state government and cities to provide a smart city. So we are doing this integrated command and control center at Bhopal, where we are managing 7 large cities within MP. And also we are doing Dehradun smart city, where again at IIITC at Dehradun, we are doing multiple citizen-centric services like land management, solid waste management, talk about traffic control, traffic management. And how technology can quickly transform is the best example of ICCC, that during COVID, all these ICCC immediately they become the nerve center, allowing the state administration to manage and tackle the COVID-19 situation, whether it's creating the hospital database, moving of the doctor, nurses, where they are going, managing those things, issuing of the curfew passes, crowd management, under one roof, under one umbrella, and city administrators were able to find out what exactly is happening in their cities and all. So this is a big example how the technology, which was supposed to be meant to do something, suddenly during COVID crisis, we moved and started delivering something which is a requirement of that thing. Second is the public health. You know that India with 1.3 billion citizens, health is a big concern kind of thing. And again, with the help of technology, we have delivered almost 150 cloud-enabled e-health centers. And these are installed across 21 states, and with providing telemedicine facility and 70 plus diagnostic. And over a period of time, we have delivered public health services to more than 15 lakh citizens who could not have managed to go to the normal paramedical facility, because many of these centers are installed in the remote places where there is no paramedical facility available. And these are state-of-art technology e-health centers with a specific time interval. It get connected to the main specialized hospital, where doctor can provide all the information, and they can go through all their track record. They can see the health services. They can see all the reports and provide the proper medication to that thing. And again, this came in when COVID came in. Then we again started looking how technology can help from the vaccination center or COVID testing. So immediately we mobilized the resources, we brought in the technology and created 50 COVID test centers and 170 plus vaccination centers in 18 states. And through again these centers, we have helped in a lot of COVID testing for the patient, And today we have helped more than 25 lakh people to do the vaccination through this thing. So again, how technology can help to provide the citizen-centric services, it's another best example.
But Roshni, coming to you, can you talk about some of the best global practices? Intel is a leading technology provider across the globe. You work with governments across the globe in enabling citizen services. Can you talk about the best practices and share some examples?
When the pandemic hit us, we actually launched a pandemic response technology initiative. A huge amount of corpus was actually put out for anyone around the globe to innovate through technology. Because of that, we were able to create things like portable ICU beds, and we had portable technology at the ICU beds that could be moved, given the fact that the hospitals were going full. So while one of the countries in the US looked at an initiative like this. A second one was in another country, we looked at IoT health monitoring service. You saw that contactless services had become a need of the hour because of social distancing. So we looked at IoT-based contact tracing, where you could look at anomalies across the globe. So I think a couple of these were what I could share. In India as well, I think we launched the pandemic management suite, which meant that we were able to predict clusters of risk. We were able to look at, how we want to look at video surveillance to manage the outbreak. We would be able to look at by city, how do we look at the right kind of intervention. So that's one of the things that we did with Videonetics, that we deployed it through one of our tier one system integrators. The other piece that I think that is worth talking about is our association with Nithyayog. One of the things that So mentioned was, how do we look at demystifying technology, taking it to the people? So we've got experience centers where people can come in, startups can come in, citizens can come in and touch feel the technologies. We also have experts to work with our startups, work with people who want to look at technology for innovation and use some of the tools and technologies that we've put together in the experience centers.
Dr. Garg, Mr. Som, Roshni, thank you very much for joining in. It was a very insightful discussion to understand how technology is now playing a critical role in increasing value to Indian citizens and how the key stakeholders are also adopting a more holistic approach towards a digital transformation. Thank you once again for joining us today.
Hewlett Packard Enterprises and Intel present Byte Talks, powered by CNBC TV 18.